Thanks very much for coming on the program, sir.
Always a pleasure, Cam.
All right, so tell me, what's the latest here with microstamping in California?
Well, that's a good question. You know, there is still no release on the patent that one particular individual holds on the technology, and unless and until that technology is made publicly available, they can't require manufacturers to adopt it because basically it just becomes, it's called the sole source rule. It becomes a way of just enriching one person. So the process has been held up, but interestingly enough, on his way out the door, Jerry Brown's DOJ issued another set of regulations that does a number of things. You know, it's kind of sets the technical standards, what kind of equipment, how deep, how wide would all the markings have to be, that kind of stuff. But the curious part is that they're doing this at all when that patent infringement issue still holds up the process. And frankly, I'm a bit concerned now that, I'm not sure if you heard this just broke this morning, Steve Cooley has conceded the Attorney General race here in California to Kamala Harris.
Oh, really?
So that's bad news. Kamala Harris was the district attorney in San Francisco. She was very, very hostile to gun owners' civil rights. Instituted mandatory sentencing for minor gun offenses. You know, it's pretty hard sometimes for gun owners to not accidentally break a law out here, given how complicated all these gun laws are.
Yeah.
And she just was completely unforgiving. She's about as far left and progressive as they get. I mean, to the point of going beyond a Democrat, and you know, it's a San Francisco Democrat. That should say it right there. So I'm not sure what she's going to do with this microstamping thing now. But I suspect that they're trying to keep the ball in play, so to speak, so that they can decide that and then ultimately get to this patent issue. And then see if they can. I suspect that she will look for a way around it, try harder than Jerry Brown did to try and find a way around it so that they can try and push this technology on us.
So, I mean, even though the patent situation is not yet resolved or not resolved, you think they're going to try to cram this through one way or another?
Well, I know Mike Feuer, who originally wrote this bill, has been claiming for probably over a year now that there's no obstacle. I don't know exactly what his legal analysis involves, because it seems to me pretty clear. But that's never, the fact that they're legally wrong has never stopped the gun ban lobby. So they've got plenty of creative lawyers that can come up with creative ways to try and slip through the cracks and get their agenda, advance their agenda out here. So it'll remain to be seen. But there's certainly going to be a receptive ear now at DOJ with Kamala Harris, much more so than, believe it or not, we had with Jerry Brown. He was not aggressive in in pushing gun control laws and enforcing some of the more political gun control laws. He basically focused the DOJ on going after people who were trying to buy a gun or possessed a gun when they were prohibited. And that has its own problems, because there's an awful lot of people who are prohibited and don't know it because of the way California's law is set up. But that's at least less controversial than some of the other boneheaded things that they're trying to push out here.
Absolutely. And now, as I understand it, Chuck, you've written a letter on behalf of the NRA, California Rifle and Pistol Association, responding to these new rulemaking proposals by DOJ?
Right. That's the way things work under the Administrative Procedures Act. The Office of Administrative Law would ultimately get these, but the issuing agency has to accept public comments. So on behalf of the NRA and the CRPA, we've submitted two sets of those comments, actually, one back in February and then the most recent one that when they revised the regulations. And we're doing similar things in a lot of different regulatory contexts out here in California. We just submitted opposition to the regulations DTSC is sending out on the so-called Green Chemistry Initiative, which would totally screw up lead ammunition manufacturers.
Mm-hmm.
And every time the DOJ or one of these environmental agencies, or in fact the Fish and Game Department, on their regulations. We've submitted comment letters on their hunting regulations. So it's part of the process. There's litigation, there's regulatory comment, and NRA is on top of all of those things out here through their lobbyist, Ed Worley, Paul Payne, me, this law firm. We're fighting on every front and in every battlefield that there is in California, and unfortunately there's a lot of them.
Absolutely. Well, Chuck, we appreciate you fighting and look forward to talking again very soon. Have a happy Thanksgiving, sir.
You too, Cam. Thanks. Happy Thanksgiving.